The dining room smelled like roasted chicken and expensive candles. My mom had set the table with the plates we only used for important dinners. My sister was scrolling on her phone, half listening. My dad sat at the head of the table, already irritated about something I didn't understand yet. I thought it was just another family dinner. Quiet, formal, tense in that familiar way where everyone pretends nothing is wrong. Halfway through the meal, my dad asked, "So, what's your plan now?" I told him calmly. I had been saving money for months. I was planning to move out, rent a small place closer to work, and start living independently. Nothing dramatic, just a step forward. But the moment the words left my mouth, his expression changed. "You think you're ready for that?" he snapped. "You can't even handle basic responsibility here." I tried to explain. I told him I had a stable job, savings, and a plan. I wasn't asking for money. I wasn't asking for permission. I was sharing my next step. But he didn't hear any of it. His voice grew louder, sharper, the kind of tone that turns a conversation into a verdict. "You're ungrateful. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Running away." "I'm not running away," I said quietly. "I'm growing up." That sentence set him off. He slammed his hand on the table so hard the glasses rattled. My sister froze. My mom looked down at her plate. "Get out," he yelled, "and never come back." The room went completely silent, the kind of silence that feels heavy in your chest. No one spoke. No one defended me. No one tried to calm him down. They just watched. I stood there for a second, letting the words sink in. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't even angry. I felt something else. A strange clarity. If he could say that so easily, then maybe I had already overstayed a place where I was never fully welcome. I didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't cry. I simply stood up, went to my room, and packed a small bag. A few clothes, my documents, my laptop. That's all. When I walked back through the dining room, they were still sitting there. No one stopped me. No one apologized. I put on my shoes, opened the front door, and stepped outside into the cool night air. And just like that, I was gone. I didn't go to a friend's house. I didn't wander aimlessly. I went straight to the small studio apartment I had secretly rented 2 weeks earlier, because the truth was, I had already planned to leave. I just hadn't told them the date yet. That dinner didn't force me out. It confirmed I was making the right decision. When I entered my apartment for the first time that night, it was empty except for a mattress on the floor and a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. But standing there in that quiet space, I felt something I had never felt at home. Peace. No tension. No judgment. No sudden outbursts. I sat on the mattress and stared at the walls for a long time. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel abandoned. I felt free. The next morning, my phone was filled with missed calls and messages. My mom, "Where are you?" My sister, "Dad didn't mean it like that." My dad, "Come back home. We need to talk." I didn't reply immediately. For the first time, I wasn't rushing to fix something I didn't break. I went to work, finished my tasks, bought a chair and a small table on the way back, began setting up my new place slowly. In the following days, the messages became softer, less angry, more concerned, but something had shifted inside me. I wasn't interested in returning to a place where I could be told to leave so easily. Weeks passed, then months. I built my routine, paid my bills, cooked my own meals, managed my life without drama, without shouting, without fear of the next emotional explosion. And gradually, my absence started doing something my presence never did. It made them realize what I had actually contributed to that house. The quiet stability, the responsibility, the calm. Because now look at it from their side. One angry sentence, and I was gone. At first, they assumed I would come back in a few days. They thought this was a phase, a reaction, a dramatic pause before returning to normal. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and I didn't show up at the door. I didn't call. I didn't argue. I didn't demand apologies. I simply continued living my life. That silence did more than any confrontation ever could. My mom started calling more often. Her voice had lost the sharpness it once carried. "How are you managing alone?" she would ask, as if she had just realized I was capable of surviving without them. "I'm fine," I would say, and I meant it. I paid my rent on time, learned to cook properly, handled my job with more focus than ever. My apartment slowly filled with small things that made it feel like home. Curtains, a desk, a bookshelf. For the first time, every object around me was there because I chose it, not because someone else approved it. Meanwhile, things at their house were changing too. Without me there, small responsibilities started piling up. Bills went unpaid on time. Errands were forgotten. The calm presence I had quietly maintained was suddenly missing. My sister wasn't used to stepping in. My dad wasn't used to managing details. My mom felt overwhelmed. And slowly, they began connecting the dots. One evening, my dad called. Not angry, not loud, just tired. "We didn't realize how much you handled," he admitted. I didn't say, "I told you so." I didn't remind him of the dinner. I just listened, because this wasn't about winning. It was about understanding. He paused for a long time before saying, "You really left?" "Yes," I replied calmly. There was no accusation in my voice, no resentment, just a fact. That's when I understood something important. When someone tells you to leave in anger, they expect you to fight back, to argue, to prove you deserve to stay. They don't expect you to actually walk away. And when you do, the power shifts quietly, completely. Months later, I visited the house for the first time. Not because they asked, because I chose to. The atmosphere felt different, softer, careful. My dad didn't sit at the head of the table like a judge anymore. My mom spoke gently. My sister avoided her usual remarks. It was as if my absence had taught them the value of my presence. But the biggest change was inside me. I no longer felt small there. I no longer felt like I had to earn my place, because now I knew something they didn't understand that night at dinner. I had never needed that house to survive. I stayed because I believed I belonged. And the moment I stopped believing that, leaving became easy. That dinner was the last time my father ever spoke to me in anger. Not because I argued, not because I demanded respect, but because I showed him quietly that I could live without his approval. When I visited after months away, he didn't raise his voice. He offered me a seat, asked how work was going, listened without interrupting. I wasn't the same person who had walked out that night, and he wasn't the same man who had shouted. Sometimes the strongest response isn't a fight. It's leaving so completely that your absence becomes the lesson,